Welcome to the Way Bible School's Knowledge Hub program. We are so glad that you joined us. This is a place where we discuss various happening topics. Today's topic is the effects of gadgets usage over children. The study, which was conducted across 30 Indian cities, has revealed that the children's addiction to electronic devices has increased up to 3 times during the lockdown, as they spent 2 to 3 hours of their time using the gadgets or watching online classes. This had an adverse impact on the physical, mental, and the emotional health of the children, resulting to obesity, anxiety, irritable behavior, eye problems, etc. Parents, are you worried about your children? Are they addicted to the using of gadgets? This is the right program for you to watch. The Way Bible School are conducting an interview with Dr. M. Anthony David, a physiologist with great experience, to equip the parents with information that is helpful to discipline their children better. Dr. David is a physiologist. He is an alumnus of the Christian Medical College, Vellore. He has done his post-graduation from the Gandhi Medical College, Hyderabad. He has been teaching in different medical colleges in India and abroad for past 2 decades. He is an author of 2 books named The Choices for Life and Soul Charges. He also counsels and facilitates in the person-to-person counseling seminars. He is married to Kalpana and they both have 2 sons. Dr. David, we are so glad that you could give your valuable time to help us know much better about this topic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I am what I am because of the grace of God. Blessed be His name. And it's important that we discuss this because this is something which is very important for all parents and children, teenagers and even adults. Let's first discuss the terms. The term gadgets here, what we use is for thingamajigs with screens, like the screens which rivet our attention. Maybe mobiles, maybe tablets, maybe laptops, maybe systems, maybe television. And the term children here we take from 0 to 12 years, and teenagers are also on focus, 13 to 19.
Great. Doctor, in this highly technological world, the usage of gadgets has increased drastically. A survey has revealed that 65% of the children are addicted to their electronic devices and 50% of them are unable to stay without their gadgets even for half an hour. So please explain in a nutshell, how do you look at it?
Yes, even before the advent of the COVID pandemic, concerns were raised about increased use of screens, especially by children in their tender age group. And the pandemic has added to it, added fuel to the fire, I must say. And there are 2 important things that we have to look at. The first one is that excessive use of screens and gadgets has got deleterious effects as well as some useful effect maybe on the children and teenagers. The second thing is, because they are devoting so much time to the screens and to the gadgets, they are not able to do other productive things with their time. So these 2 effects we have to balance and see. That is what I would like to say in a nutshell, and we'll discuss more about it. Parents and other concerned adults should be very concerned about it and be proactive about it. We have to do something about it to prevent various deleterious effects, and that's very, very important, and that's something which we should discuss. And I'm so happy that this program is going to the parents. This will help them to take some steps.
Doctor, could you please explain what advantages the using of gadgets can have over the children?
Yeah, before we go into deleterious effect, I think we should look at the advantages. Gadgets, especially those we have, these technological gadgets, they are, we can just say that they are easy everywhere. Just at the click of a button you can get anything. Yes. And that is the advantage of this. Now there are some advantages. We can use this for children for learning, for acquisition of knowledge. That's one. Secondly, connecting with people across the globe, all over the world. We can connect to people, and there are some useful apps like Satya app and Nimhans programs, which will help the children to develop their physical development and mental development can be focused. Then there are some specific custom-made programs for children with autism, children with learning disorders, which can help. So these are some advantages, but the co-viewing is advised. What I mean by co-viewing is the parents and the children should sit together in front of the gadget and listen and watch carefully, and the parent should be there, and the presence of the parent makes a big difference. It is not that individually everybody will sit in their own corners with their gadgets. That's an important aspect which we should think. If as long as we are doing that, then there are definitely advantages to gadgets. There are also other things like, for example, some YouTube channels, YouTube's Kids, for example, focused on children, are useful to showcase the talents of children. Some children's talents can be used, like the Sunday school program we had, and so on. And then one more thing is, we have this this gadget called Kindle.
Okay.
Kindle is exclusively for reading and for books, so that will promote the very good habit of book reading.
Very true.
These are some of the things I thought which are useful.
Yes, doctor, rightly said. It is also helping many of them who are unable to afford to educate themselves for competitive exams like GATE and GMAT, etc. YouTube is offering many online classes, free online classes. It is also helping people to grow in their talent, like, learn cooking classes, stitching classes, etc. In fact, I have learned many recipes from YouTube as well. So, very true. What you said is very true.
Yeah, and they can look at it again and again.
Yeah, very
and
true.
Reinforce their learning.
Correct. It's great to know all the advantages that we have through these gadgets. But the concern of many of the parents today is they're worried about the children because they're using the gadgets too much and it is affecting their health, especially during this pandemic. What do you think the children go through? And could you please explain what are the effects on the children physically as per different age groups?
Yes. The effects are of two, as I said earlier, the not doing other activities is affecting them as much as doing this particular activity.
True.
This particular activity is low on physical part. They're just sitting transfixed to one screen.
Exactly.
And they're all the time they're there. Whereas they don't have any physical activity. Things like in a younger age group, like 2s and 3s, the motor skills, like how to make things, how to use the fingers, these things are dwindling down.
Correct.
Because of the excessive use of screen. Okay, then physically they are becoming more couch potatoes.
True.
Just sitting there, and the body weight is increasing. The recent secular trends have shown that children are becoming more and more obese compared to, say, 10 years back or 20 years back. Children are becoming more obese. These sedentary habits are being forced on them, and they are developing physical problems like backache, neck ache, wrist pain, finger problems, and visual disturbances. There are problems in sleep. They are not able to go to sleep unless you give them a screen. They are not going to able to go to sleep. So sleep disturbances are there. Then because of that, they are also developing difficulties in vision, especially when the children are watching these screens, which usually are blue in the night when the bedroom lights are off. That affects the vision a lot.
Okay.
So starting from retina to the cornea, everywhere visual disturbances are increasing because of excessive use. These are some of the things. Apart from that, the important thing is when children are viewing the screens, the brain is not active. We have something called the EEG, electroencephalograph, which will record the activity of the brain. And if you see the EEG readings, there's not much, because everything you don't have to imagine. When you imagine, you use your brain, use your brain cells. You're not using your brain cells because everything is coming into you dry,
Yes.
ready.
Yeah, ready-made.
So that is another problem. The brain is not being used, both parts of the brain, especially in young children as they are growing. coming
Yes.
2, 3, 4 years, it has an impact which is lifelong.
True, very true.
These are very alarming trends, and we should take a note. Parents should make a note of it. Usage of gadgets can cause all these things.
Because young
And
age is
more.
the age they grow.
Yes,
The
they
brain
form.
develops.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's right. Let me summarize the physical effects on children of excessive gadget use. Physically, they develop obesity because of sedentary lifestyle. They'll develop headaches. They'll develop back aches and wrist aches, and they will not be able to see properly because excessive use at night time especially. Apart from this, their brain also has there's a negative effect on the brain, because as you keep watching the gadgets, you'll use the brain less and less.
Yes.
So these are some of the problems the children face with excess use of gadgets.
So, doctor, what do you suggest the parents in terms of avoiding these physical effects on the children? And also, it is mandatory for children to sit before the gadgets for 2 to 5 hours because of the online classes. So, in terms of right seating position, lighting, distancing, what would you suggest?
It's a very good question, Percy, and very relevant for the parents to take some steps. Slouching over gadgets and putting them like this and just, myopically sitting, that is very, very bad. A minimum distance of 25 centimeters should be there between the gadget and the eyes of the children. And they should sit in an erect position, and the back should be completely covered. There should be some rest to the back, especially because they're sitting for hours together. It is important that the parents ensure that they sit properly in an erect position to avoid back issues. Otherwise, a lot of back issues will come up. And their distance should be maintained at 25. And there's an interesting rule which is called 20-20-20 rule.
Okay.
I think all parents should know, and even we also should do that.
Yes.
20-20-20 is a very simple rule which says for every 20 minutes of watching the screen, they should take a break for at least 20 seconds. Okay, and during this break of 20 seconds, they should be watching something which is at least 20 meters away.
Oh, very interesting.
Okay, yeah, this is because if you keep watching at 25 centimeters all the time, the eyes get strained. There are some muscles within the eye which get strained. So to offset that, we have to use this 20-20-20 rule, which is very simple. Every 20 minutes of watching the screen, you take a break for 20 seconds and watch something which is 20 meters away, maybe the tree there or maybe the street there, and after 20 seconds break, then you get back to your watching.
Okay, it's good to watch something bright or some colorful things, right?
Something else, something which is far away. Basically, the distant vision is important here, because you're closely watching the near vision.
Okay, very true. That's very nice.
Right.
We can apply that. Doctor, to what level do you think parents should maintain responsibility over the children? Like, for example, how often should they check on them? What are they watching, or how is the screen placed, etc.? What do you think about that?
It's a good question, Percy, and I think parents are primarily responsible right from the toddler age onwards.
Okay.
I would like to put it in a different angle and say parents should watch their screen time.
Very true.
Their gadget use, because children always mimic their parents.
Correct.
So as responsible parents, we should be careful how much screen we are using, because children always try to imitate what you are doing. And this screen usage for children, now what is inevitable, you can't help it. So you must make sure that one parent at least will be there when they are watching, even if they are class videos and things like that. Co-viewing, parents sitting alongside with the child and viewing, that's a very important thing. Second thing is, the children's life, there should be a balance.
Correct.
So parents should ensure that the children have adequate time for physical activity, for actual games which involve their physique, and then interaction with other children, with other parents, other adults, and so on. And then time for family, bonding together as a family, time for that. Even meal times, sleep times. Very often we find that these screen gadgets are coming and taking over the sleep too. And some simple things that they can do is, one, that 1 hour before bedtime all the screens should be put off, all the gadgets should be off. 1 hour there should be a quiet time before they go to bed, children go to bed. And as soon as they got up, they shouldn't start with the screens or gadgets. There should be something like no screens before scripture. For those of us who read the word of God, it's important that the children meditate, read and have their quiet time, and then only start on the screens.
Okay.
Of course, there are some confusing issues like the scripture is on the screen. So
Yeah.
I prefer, if possible, to have a real Bible with paper and books, and that can be read before they can proceed. So these are some things. And especially when children are below 10 or below 12, the children should not be allowed to use their phones in seclusion,
Okay.
in secrecy. So when a child is using the screen and doing something, the parents should be able to walk around and just have a glance, because
Very
of
true.
the various issues like we are going to
Exactly.
discuss, things like pornography and other things coming up. Once in a while, if the parents are walking around and look, they sit in a place which is semi-private, not fully private, so
Okay.
that others can have a view.
Very
And
true.
co-viewing also would be ideal if possible. So these are some measures they can do, and reducing the screen time as much as possible is important. I can tell you the real life story of a father who shared with me, a concerned father. He has a 4-year-old child, and she had to attend some classes. He said he was very much worried because she was sitting there for hours together. So what he did was he attended those classes himself, and then
Okay.
he made the child sit in front of him and narrated the story again live.
Very nice.
I don't know whether this is probably an ideal situation. Not everybody can do it.
Okay.
But as it is very, very important that we reduce the screen time, reduce the gadget usage by children, and have real life interactions, which are very, very important, I feel.
That requires a lot of time of the parents,
Yes,
right, ma'am?
yes. I personally feel that parenting is a full-time responsibility. I am not a professor in a college. I am not a techie. I am not a this. First of all, I am a parent.
Very
and
true.
my responsibility is to look after my
So
children.
true. So
Yeah.
true. Doctor, could you please share of how children are satisfying their emotional needs through this, gadgets usage, and also how are the emotions of the children affected because of this gadgets usage? Could you please throw light on it?
Yeah, vital question indeed. Yeah, unfortunate, but it is true that many children are resorting to these gadgets for fulfilling their emotional needs.
True.
All of us have emotional longings and thirsts, and ideally, only God can satisfy our
Very true,
emotions.
very true.
The next best to God is parents and other human beings who can interact with you and feel your needs and relate to you. So relationships is very, very important. Now
Correct.
relationships, now we can classify them into two: live relationships, offline,
Yes.
and online relationships, which are virtual.
Very
There's something like second lives and all that. People are living an image, like Facebook, for instance. I have something on the Facebook, and everybody will look at it. It'll be perfect. They will not be, all my faults will not be seen there.
Very
All
true,
my faults will not be seen
Yeah.
there. So that sort of situation is coming up, which is very, very sad. So emotions are being manipulated. Children's emotions are being manipulated, and this is the place where people who are criminals, are predators,
Wow.
sexual predators like pedophiles, etc.
Exactly.
They are taking the full advantage of this and clinching people away,
True,
children
very true.
away especially. So what as parents we should do is teach the parents again and again one simple fact: never reveal your identity in the online or in the gadgets. Things like your name, your telephone number, your address, your parents, and any of the in personal knowledge, personal details should never be told in the digital world. That's very, very important. That's one thing which they can do. And about their emotions being manipulated. The psychiatric manual has now entity called Facebook depression, because if I don't get
Yeah.
enough likes in the
Yeah.
Facebook, I go into a depression.
Very true.
So these gadgets are also causing some lot of psychological effects, which we will be discussing, I suppose. And it is important that emotions are not met by them. So a secure, a safe, a fun-filled, an interactive environment in the home should be built up by the parents. This is the parental responsibility. As
Okay.
parents, we should make sure that a beautiful environment is there where children come and they feel very secure, and they interact and they'll talk with the parents and they'll share with them, and that is a proactive stance which we as parents we should take, so that they won't go to these gadgets for their emotional things.
Correct. So it's an intentional effort.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it takes a lot of
Yes.
energy and time and thinking to do that.
Yes.
Especially in this busy world.
True.
Yeah. Thank you
Yes.
so much. That's true.
About emotions, how the children's emotions are affected by gadgets, usage of gadgets. There's a tremendous use of games, certain violent games like PUBG. Now it's called Free Fire, it seems. And then we have Clash of Clans and various other violent games which talk about violence, about murder, about earlier we had some which were promoting suicides. So these things play havoc with the emotions of the children. So as parents, I think we should make sure that they don't affect them. They're totally addicted to it,
very
they don't
true.
leave it, and they're just on it through. So we have to curtail that and make it sure that only for short durations they can play, and what they are playing, what is the game they are playing. As a parent, I should know.
Very true.
It's not that I just leave it to them and they choose their game and play. Make sure that you also play that game and know what it is like, because that will keep playing on your emotions.
Very
And
true.
the rage reaction, you must have seen, many of the parents must have realized, if they take the cell phone away or if they restrict the time, the children go into a rage.
Exactly.
They just go into a tantrum. So all this is because their emotions are being played out by these games and so on.
Correct.
So one should be very careful about what games they are following. You have to keep following it and make sure that you know what just like you should know who your children are friendly with. You should also know what are the games they're friendly with, what are the social media they're going and getting involved with.
Yeah, the content is very important.
Yes.
I have a friend whose son refuses to eat if that particular rhyme is not played. It is very important for us to curtail that issue, because even small kids are being affected.
Yeah,
What do
one
you-
more thing is the parents, some of us will use it as a incentive or as something like children are crying and we have a guest, we have a very important guest, just throw a cell phone at them.
Correct.
Let them look after.
Yeah.
And children are not eating, as you said, so give them a cell phone as an incentive. Let them use it, and then you slowly feed them.
Yeah.
As a distractor they are
Very
using.
true, very
I think that is not to be done.
Yeah,
That's
that-
something they should avoid.
So, doctor, we have seen the physical effects, the emotional effects, these gadgets are having over children. How do you think these gadgets are affecting the children mentally? Could you please throw some light on that?
Sure. Mentally, there's a lot of things which are happening to children. The children are forced to view this, and their mind is affected, their psychology is affected because of excessive use of these gadgets. And using of these gadgets causes them addiction. What is addiction? Addiction is simply a physical and psychological dependence on a substance or a thing. So they get physically and psychologically addicted to it, and they cannot live without it.
Correct.
They develop the shivers, they develop tantrums and so on. Lots of things they get. And the most important mental effect that I have observed is what is called as instant gratification.
Correct.
Now in this world, we have to wait for good things to happen.
True.
A baby to be born, 9 months you have to wait.
Yes.
You can't have it in an instant.
Instant.
But with this easy anywhere, all these
Yeah.
gadgets, I would call it as easy anywhere, everywhere, now.
Yes.
Instant gratification, I want it.
Yeah.
And I want it now.
Now.
That's
Like
what the
instant
children will
coffee
say.
or instant
everything
biryani.
instant. Instant coffee is not so good as filtered coffee,
Yes,
which
it
takes
takes time.
Yeah. So this instant gratification is spoiling the entire psyche of the human mind.
Correct.
We are made in the image of God, and God took time to create. God took time to takes time to make people. So the children are got into this instant, at the flick of a button things should happen.
Correct.
That is one very important problem. They got addicted to media, and we have these two things which are very popular, which is called FOMO and FOBLO. I'm sure you
very
must have heard
interesting.
of
I
it.
never heard of that.
FOMO is fear of missing out.
Okay.
Suppose my cell phone is somewhere else and I have forgotten about it somewhere else. I've not forgotten about it, but it's lost. Then I have a fear. What am I missing out? What am I
Okay.
missing out? What are the messages I'm getting? What are the WhatsApp I'm getting? Instagram I'm getting? So that is a fear of missing out.
Okay.
Then FOBLO is fear of being left out. So
Correct.
they feel that they'll be left out if they are not in the virtual world. So these are some things which are coming up, which are mentally affecting. And another important thing which is coming up is the pornography. The pornography is very much there, and it is I think probably the most what shall I say, profitable enterprise in the cyber world, and they're making lots of money, and the pop-ups come up, and when children are seeing and parents are not co-viewing, parents are
Exactly.
not looking, they can go into it. Once they go into it, they get a perverted view of sex.
Very true.
And they will develop psychosexual problems later on, when in their marriage, in their life. That's one. And they can go on into violence and pornography. You must have heard about the story of Ted Bundy.
No, could you please share
Ted
it?
Bundy was a very good child in, say, I think it happened maybe 20-30 years back.
Okay.
He was growing up in a good Christian background, and he was a very ideal child, but he got addicted to pornography.
Okay.
Without the knowledge of his parents, he got addicted. He went into violence and sexuality, kept on seeing it, and the fantasy world and the real world did not converge.
Okay.
In the real world, he was a very good scout. He was a cub. He did law school. He graduated, and he was doing very well, Sunday school and all that. But on this other side, this dark side was there. So this dark side prevailed over him, and he overstepped, and went into real life, caught somebody, and had a lot of raped a girl, and and murdered her, and he kept doing it. And he maintained this front of being a good boy and all that, and he did a serial, maybe 20-30 murders he did, and later on it was discovered, and his life was shattered. So he said he came to the Lord, fortunately, and he said that violence and sexual violence and pornography are just waiting to pounce on children.
Very
so
true.
we should be very, very careful to avoid these things. These are problems which are very much there, and of course children are going into anxiety and depression and other psychiatric problems also. The incidence is increasing. The OPD in psychiatric OPs is increasing during this pandemic, and because of excessive usage of gadgets. So as parents, I think we should be concerned and look at all these issues.
Yeah, because what you said is like he doesn't know who he is. He's living two lives. He's wearing a mask. So
Yes.
many of the children are facing identity crisis, perhaps because of this.
Yes,
That's
you're
so
right.
true. We need to work on that. Thank you so much. Doctor, what would you suggest is the right age for children to use gadgets? And also, for how many hours in a day is preferable for children to use the gadgets?
Good question. Good question indeed. Children below 2 years, absolutely no gadgets.
Okay.
They should not use any gadgets, because it has been recorded that if children are exposed to gadgets before they have their second birthday, they develop speech problems. They develop motor problems and so on. And from 2 to the toddler's age up to 5 and 6 to 7, minimal usage of gadgets, and that too with parental co-viewing. Parents should be there, and they should watch along with the children.
Okay.
Minimal, maybe half an hour, 1 hour, not in hours at all. And as they grow older, naturally because of this academic, this COVID,
Online
academically
classes.
they're seeing online. Apart from the classes, the other usage of screen can be tightly controlled and make it as little as possible, as minimal as possible. And then as far as the adolescents, the teenagers are concerned, concerned, many of them ask for cell phones.
Very
and
true.
lavishly, the latest iPhone is given. Instead of that,
Well, I don't have an iPhone still.
that's fine. What I would advise is give them smartphones only later. When they are teenagers, when they are adolescents, give them an ordinary phone.
Okay, so
Like you have
without
the ordinary phone, which is an idiot phone, should I call it? It's not a
like
smartphone.
Nokia 1100. I had that for a long time.
Yeah, that not smartphone for purposes of communication.
Yeah.
Say parents would like to know where the children are, or children would like to contact their parents just for communication, and maybe ordinary SMS. Only with these features you can give phones, and give them smartphones for half an hour or so in the presence of the parents. Let them use the smartphone, but only for limited durations of time. That is helpful if they can follow it. But I don't know, these days the children are demanding, and parents are just listening to children.
Yeah, very true.
We have to change it. Yeah, that's true.
So, doctor, what do you think is the role of parents in terms of using the gadgets?
It's a very good question, and parents are the primary actors in this, and they have to be proactive.
Okay.
They have to start right from the beginning, and the beginning is not just after the child is born. Even before the child is born, while the child is in the womb itself, we can start by exposing them to good sounds and good, like the scripture readings and so on. The mother can listen, so that will help the child. And then right from the day the child is born, whether they can understand and comprehend is a secondary issue, but make sure that they are exposed to good content, especially good audios. You talk to them and keep speaking to them, and that's one. Then developing a good nurturing environment is very, very important for the child as they grow up. And as I told before, less than 2 years, no screens please. No gadgets at all. Okay. The important person is you. And the father and the mother, they should be the most important person apart from God for the child. So that is very, very important. Live encounters till 2. After that, very little, you expose them only to co-viewing and viewing in semi-private situations, not in extremely private situations. And another important thing that they can do is, nowadays what children are doing as young as 4 or 5 years, they're going on to these mobiles and they're downloading the games which they want. So in this context, there's something called app block. You can block the app which downloads, that is Play Store. In Android you have Play Store, and in iPhone you have App Store. You can block them. You can give them a password and make sure that the children won't use it. I think we have a small video clip which will explain that. We will show it to you now. You can use that. And make sure that you keep a watch on what the kids are doing with the gadgets. It's very, very important that you know what they are doing. Sometimes they go on to somewhere else and they expose themselves to predators. Not only sexual predators, you have financial predators also. They get the details of the parents and so on, and try to trap them and take away most of the funds, and
that's
so many cyber scams are happening. So children are the source through which they get the information. One of the sources. So we have to be very careful. We have to explain, as parents, we have to explain to the children all these things and make sure that they don't do it. That's important. It's a parental responsibility. And as they grow up, you should have a two-way communication with the children.
That's important.
Right from day 1 to till they become teenagers and beyond, so that you know what's happening. At the end of the day, ideal time would be maybe at supper time, before the prayer time, family altar. You talk to them, what was the day, and listen to them. More important is listen. Sometimes parents will just talk. It's one way. It should not be one way. It's two way. They should communicate, and including the technological issues that they have, it should be open. Open communication is important, and if open communication is there, then many of these problems will not be there, I feel.
Yeah, I agree, because these days, because of the gadgets, you sit before the TV and you eat, or you're watching something on the phone and you eat. So this communication is entirely missing out, It's
in fact, communication between spouses also is missing.
Exactly.
It's becoming like, totally tech Likewise.
Sometimes they text on WhatsApp, hi, hello, how are you? Though they're sitting just beside. So I totally agree with that point. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important.
And one more thing I'd like to mention is that there's a gentleman called Andy Crouch.
Okay.
He has done a study about this,
Okay.
about technology and how it's affecting a family.
Oh,
And he's
nice.
written a beautiful book called Tech Wise Families.
Tech-wise
Andy
families.
Crouch, Tech Wise Families. I would like every parent, if possible, to get hold of this book. He gives a beautiful 10 commandments.
Oh,
of
interesting.
how
Like,
Tech
not
Wise
10
family, like
commandments
the
from
10
the Bible.
commandments in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tells us how we should nurture a beautiful environment.
Okay.
The environment. And it's just not a book he has written. His daughter, who was parented by him,
Okay.
has given a testimony of how this type of, tech-wise family helped her.
Oh, very
and
nice.
she's very critical about it also.
Okay.
So I think we have to use such resources and be equipped as parents to deal with this
Yeah.
tech problem.
It's challenging, and again, it should be very intentional, right, ma'am?
Yes, it should be intentional, and
Yeah.
I would say the first priority and the full-time job of a parent, if you are a parent, is to look after your children. It's
Yeah.
not your job elsewhere, it's not your job to make money. Okay, that is secondary. Primarily, God has made you to be a child, a parent. You have to bring your child up in the nurture of the Lord.
So
I
true,
think
so
that's
true.
important.
Thank you so much for that
Welcome.
insight. So, doctor, what do you think is the role of parents in terms of using the gadgets?
It's a very good question, and parents are the primary actors in this, and they have to be proactive.
Okay.
They have to start right from the beginning, and the beginning is not just after the child is born. Even before the child is born,
Oh.
while the child is in the womb itself, we can start by exposing them to good sounds and good, like the scripture readings and so on. The mother can listen, so that will help the child. And then right from the day the child is born, whether they can understand and comprehend is a secondary issue,
Okay.
but make sure that they are exposed to good content, especially good audios. You talk to them and keep speaking to them, and that's one. Then developing a good nurturing environment is very important for the
Yes,
child
very
as they
true.
grow up.
Yes.
And as I told before, less than 2 years, no screens please. No
Okay.
gadgets at all.
Okay.
The important person is you. And
Okay.
the father and the mother, they should be the most important person apart from God for the
Okay.
child.
That's
So that
true.
is very important. Live encounters till 2. After that, very little, you expose them only to co-viewing and viewing in semi-private situations,
Okay.
not in extremely private situations. And another important thing that they can do is nowadays what children are doing as young as 4 or 5 years, they're going on to these mobiles and they're downloading the games which they want. So in this context, there's something called app block. You can block the app which downloads, that is Play
Okay.
Store. In Android you have Play Store,
Yes.
and in iPhone you have App Store.
Yeah.
You can block them. You can
Okay.
give them a password and make sure that the children won't use it. I think we have a small video clip which will explain that.
Okay.
We will show it to you now. You can use that.
Hello everyone, games and other applications are downloaded from Play Store. So today I want to show you how to keep a passcode to the Play Store such that it can be opened without knowing the passcode. As you can see right now, my Play Store is open without any passcodes. So children can open it and download any application what they want. So let us set passcode to Play Store. First, search for security app in your phone. For some phones, app lock option will be in phone settings. So here it is. Then select that security app and search for app lock option in the security app. Here it is. Then select that app lock option, and if you are using the app lock for the first time, it will ask you to set a passcode to app lock. So set a passcode if you are using it for the first time. Then search for an app which you want to keep passcode. So I am typing Play Store and then select it. That's it. You successfully kept passcode to the Play Store. So let us try to open it now. Right now my Play Store app is asking for passcode, but I am unable to record my screen. I am typing my passcode. See, you can see the Play Store app is open. If you give the wrong passcode, it can be opened. I hope you got how to keep a passcode to Play Store. Thank you.
And make sure that you keep a watch on what the kids are doing with the gadgets. It's very, very important that you know what they are doing. Sometimes they go on to somewhere else and they expose themselves to predators. Not only sexual predators, you have financial predators also.
Exactly.
They get the details of the parents and so on, and try to trap them and take away most of the funds, and
that's
so many
happening often.
cyber scams are happening. So children are the source through which they get the information. One of the sources. So we have to be very careful. We have to explain, as parents, we have to explain to the children all these things and make sure that they don't do it. That's important. It's a parental responsibility. And as they grow up, you should have a two-way communication with the children.
That's important.
Right from day one to till they become teenagers and beyond, so that you know what's happening. At the end of the day, ideal time would be maybe at supper time, before the prayer time, family altar. You talk to them what was the day and listen to them. More important is listen. Sometimes parents will just talk. It's one way. It should not be one way. It's two way. They should communicate, and including the technological issues that they have, it should be open. Open communication is important, and if open communication is there, then many of these problems will not be there, I feel.
I agree, because these days, because of the gadgets, you sit before the TV and you eat, or you're watching something on the phone and you eat. So this communication is entirely missing out. It's
in fact, communication between spouses also is missing.
Exactly.
It's becoming like totally tech wise.
Sometimes they text on WhatsApp, hi, hello, how are you, though they're sitting just beside. So I totally agree with that point. It's very important.
And one more thing I'd like to mention is that there's a gentleman called Andy Crouch. He has done a study about this, about technology and how it's affecting a family.
Oh, nice.
And he's written a beautiful book called Tech-Wise Families.
Tech-Wise
Andy
Families.
Crouch, Tech-Wise Families. I would like every parent, if possible, to get hold of this book. He gives a beautiful 10 commandments.
Oh, interesting.
Like Tech-Wise family, like the 10 commandments in the Bible. So he tells us how we should nurture a beautiful environment. The environment. And it's just not a book he has written. His daughter, who was parented by him, has given a testimony of how this type of Tech-Wise family helped her.
Oh, very nice.
And she's very critical about it also. So I think we have to use such resources and be equipped as parents to deal with this tech problem.
It's challenging, and again, it should be very intentional.
It should be intentional, and I would say the first priority and the full-time job of a parent, if you are a parent, is to look after your children. It's not your job elsewhere. It's not your job to make money. Okay, that is secondary. Primarily, God has made you to be a child, a parent. You have to bring your child up in the nurture of the Lord.
So true.
I think that's important.
Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
Insight. Doctor, in the long run, how do you think this usage of gadgets will affect a child's social life?
Good question. I would like to start at the beginning. In fact, before the beginning. If you look at God, God was relational even before he started creating the entire universe. So relationships are central to our life.
Correct.
And socially, man is a social being, so we have to connect to people. Real life connections is very important. And that is one thing which is most neglected when you use gadgets.
Very true.
The more we use gadgets, the less we have live encounters.
Correct.
So children nowadays are losing the skill of connecting to people, real life people, having an encounter, having a friendship, real life friendship. So these are problems which we should look at and make sure that the children have some occasion where they can really talk to people and connect to people. It is very difficult, I know, because of this COVID and all the COVID protocol that we have, but still it is important, because otherwise they'll go into social skills being completely missed out.
Correct.
And they will have a problem tomorrow in the post-COVID situation, when they have to deal with people, dealing with people and connecting with people, the social interaction is very important for the emotional health of the child. So as parents, we should make sure that they will at least interact with the parents, spend time, invest your time with your child, spend quality time with your child, so that they will know how to interact, and less time with your gadgets, your own gadgets, they their own gadgets. We are living in our own lives. I think we should stop that and proactively spend time and teach them the social skills. That's very important.
And also there's another aspect to this social life wherein they're becoming socially very liberal. You know, there are some dating apps like Tinder, OkCupid, or some apps which are being used by children at very young age, and it's actually spoiling the view of the sacred relationship of marriage and things like that. What is your suggestions on that?
Exactly. See, what is happening is in these apps, what you see is an image of that person. You're not actually seeing the real person as a whole. You're just seeing an image, what they want. Suppose I want to be on those apps, I will put only the positive points of myself there, and you will see a beautiful positive image. It's like a photo morphed thing which I put there. You look at it and you'll probably fall in love with it. But the important thing is we should know how to connect to a person as a whole, and that is missing. And it's very important that like teenagers and adolescents, they are getting attracted, and lots of things are happening. We are hearing so many things happening. They get attached on the online, on social media, and then they go to real life, and then they realize that they are actually predators, or they are people who are swindling them, taking their money, and lots of things are happening. So parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that children don't fall prey to these things. So make sure that you know where your children are as far as digitally they are concerned, and make sure that they don't go to stray to the wrong paths. I think that's important too.
True. So doctor, what would be the biblical virtues and principles that you would suggest to the parents, especially during this time of pandemic, because they stay home, to mold them to have a balanced usage of gadgets?
Yeah, the biblical principles are clear. First, the parents are supposed to bring up their children in the nurture of the Lord. Paul talks about it, very clearly. And so when they bring them up, the balance is the word that you use, the right word.
Exactly.
The balance should be between real life activities, physical activities, for instance, family time, hobby time, study time, academic time, and the gadgets.
Correct.
Now the gadgets are slowly replacing, because gadgets are easy anywhere things.
Very
so
true.
you just pick it up and go anywhere. You can go to Google, you can go anywhere in the world. So it's very, very dangerous. So we have to balance, as you say. Parents, first of all, have to develop a good lifestyle of their own. They should not be dependent on gadgets. They should show the right ideal, practice before they preach. And then they should make sure that the children under 2, absolutely none. And then as they grow up, slowly you can expose them to these gadgets, because they're very dangerous. They're like nuclear bombs. You have to make sure that you show them only a little bit. And then you asked about biblical values. Bible is very clear about it. Bible says that the answer is the Bible itself.
Correct.
If you look at Deuteronomy, Moses is writing, and he says that we have to inundate our children with the word of God.
So true.
When they rise up, when they go to bed, as they get up, as they walk around, on the doors posts, on the gates, on your forehead, everywhere the word of God should be there.
Okay.
And now more than anywhere, any time before, it is essential that we inundate, we make sure that our children know the word of God.
So true.
As the psalmist says, we have to meditate on it day and night. A lot of other type of meditations are coming up, but biblical meditation is becoming rare. So we have to teach the children to meditate on the Bible and day and night. And this is a lot of popular books are there about success and prosperity. The biblical answer is in Joshua chapter 1, you know that very well. How we should meditate on the word of God and practice what it says. So once we do that, once we teach that to the children, and the children will learn it only if we are practicing it ourselves as parents. So it's very much the responsibility of parents to practice and then preach and teach the children so that they will learn this. These are some things I think which we should do as parents.
Yeah, there are also some biblical virtues like self-control and patience
Yes.
that they can practice as well,
Yes,
right?
patience and self-control are mentioned as the 9 fruit of the Spirit, and self-control is the last. And self-control is something which we as parents should learn, and we should
Yeah.
acquire it ourselves and then teach the children.
Yeah.
Because self-control is something which is lost in this tech age because of
true.
these gadgets. We don't know when we stop. We keep on going from one website to another, from one app to another, and we keep going, and we realize that it's not today, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's important. You're right. It's true.
So you think it's good for parents to lay some rules or some boundaries that they should not cross as children?
Exactly. There should be rules. And these rules should be something they should discuss with the children. As long as the children can understand. Say, this is what we are doing, why we are doing it, and what we are doing it, and what happens if you cross them.
Okay.
All these things should be discussed, and they should be practiced with all the children equally. No,
no partiality.
partisanism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another biblical principle is the principle of the Sabbath. You know, when God created, He used 6 days to create the entire universe, including mankind, and then He took a break. He took a rest, day of
Very
rest.
true.
So for our usage of gadgets, the children's usage of gadgets, adults' usage of gadgets, there should be some breaks. So ideally, what I would suggest is at least 1 hour a day, 1 waking hour a day, we should abstain from use of gadgets. Keep away from the bad gadgets, at least 1 hour, preferably 1 hour before the bedtime.
Okay.
And 1 day a week, if you can use a Sabbath, a day of rest from the gadgets, that would be very nice.
Yeah.
Keep away from the gadgets for 1 whole day. Do real life things. Go and do some gardening. Go and do something real life with your life. That is one thing. Then maybe 1 week at least in a year. Take a week off. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 month would be ideal, but at least 1 week you can take off. And maybe in the concept of 7 years, maybe 1 year you can aim for
Wow,
without gadgets.
if we can achieve that, then like we have
Yeah,
overcome
something
us.
like the Jubilee year. Once in every 49 years, all the debts are gone. So we can throw off all the gadgets and maybe get new ones. We don't know. Yeah, these are some concepts from the biblical concept of Sabbath, which I thought we should share
Yeah.
with the parents.
That's so true. So, Doctor, now we are coming to the end of this interview. We request you to please summarize in a nutshell what we have learned till now. And also, are there any specific takeaways to the parents from this program?
Yes, I'll do that. We've been talking about the use of gadgets, the excessive use of gadgets by children, and mobiles and tabs and whatnot. Children are using. It is not that we can just throw them away. That would have been ideal maybe, but it's not possible. Partly
So
because
expensive.
partly because of the pandemic situation, which makes sure that the academic activities are going on there. So parents, first of all, have a role to play that they should realize. Secondly, they have to play a role which is proactive and which is work and then show it, deed and then word. So first they have to do it on their own self, their own lives. They should restrict the use of gadgets and they should ask the children to do it. And as I told you, the most important thing is co-viewing. No mobiles, no screens for children under 2. And after they grow up, 3 to 5 or 6 and all that, you can use, but don't use them as distractors, to throw it on them as if you want to do something else. That would be very, very harmful. Instead of that, you co-view, sit with them and view things.
Okay.
And always monitor what your children are doing with the gadgets, because gadgets can take them away somewhere. We have discussed, they can go to predators, they can go to economic offenders and so on. So be careful. You watch them, help them to sit in a semi-open situation where you can just pass by and have a look what's happening, and keep them responsible, accountable. So that will help them. And the Bible is very clear. Make sure that the Bible and teaching of the Bible is paramount for the children. And once you do that, I think the use of gadgets can be little lessened. And these are few things. And I would like to add, I've already mentioned a beautiful resource material.
Okay.
One is called Tech-Wise Family. It's by Andy Crouch. It's available, I think, on online. You can get it. It talks about how a family can be molded to be wise as far as tech gadgets are concerned. And it's a beautiful one, and the daughter is giving a testimony about how it worked out for them also. So that is one. Second thing is 12 ways your phone is changing you. 12 ways your phone is changing you. It's written by Tony Rinke. And Tony Rinke is a partner in the Desiring God. If you go to desiringgod.com, you can get details about this. That talks about how a mobile phone can change you and me. So that is useful for parents to know, so that it won't affect the children. These are a few things, and I'm sure the parents will do something. And one more thing I can suggest for parents is you link up with like-minded parents and share your successes and your failures, so that you can go together in this journey of trying to restrict gadget usage by your children.
Yeah, that requires a lot of humility, because sometimes we want to show only the good part of our children, you know.
Yeah.
He's like this, he's like this. But sometimes it's very important to share our weaknesses or maintain accountability, discuss, so that we can grow together as a community of parents and bless our children.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true indeed. It was good discussing this with you.
Same
and
here.
I hope it will of use to parents listening.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that your child is addicted to gadgets and it's difficult? It may be difficult, but it's not impossible. You can do it. Habits can be weaned off from children, especially because they're so adaptable. It may take a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks, 15 days. Slowly, step by step, in an incremental way, it is possible for you to remove the bad habits from them and instill in them good habits, good usage of technology or gadgets. And that's what we can do, and you can definitely do it if you follow the steps that we have discussed.
Doctor, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and equipping us with so much of information for better usage of gadgets. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was my pleasure too.
Yeah. Dear parents, hope this session was helpful for you. Hope you have attained some valuable thoughts and some practical tips to minimize the usage of gadgets in your house over your children. Dear parents, if you have any questions regarding this topic, please write to us at thewaybibleschool@gmail.com. If you have any other topics that you want to suggest to know more about under the Knowledge Hub, you need to please send that topics to thewaybibleschool@gmail.com and we will take over. We also request you to please subscribe to our channel, The Way Bible School, and also like our videos, share our links to all your friends and family so we all can get wiser together. We also request you to please hit our notification bell icon to get the updates, because we, The Way Bible School, under the Knowledge Hub, are going to come up with many more interesting topics that would help us be better equipped to face the future. God bless you.